In this video, we're going to have a look at how we can implement a score in this Area Invaders game. Now, this game itself already does have a score in it, however, it's broken, and that makes me pretty grumpy. But we're going to look at a method that involves using events and using game attributes to implement a working score. Now, as a bit of context, the score in this sort of game, the way in which it works is that if you shoot an enemy ship down, what you'll expect is that your score is going to increase. So jumping straight into it, let's think about it. If we shoot an enemy ship, so one of these guys, we want the score to increase. Now, if we go across to events, there is a partial implementation of the score. However, it doesn't work properly. So if we go into check health and we say, where are we? If our health is less than 0, we're going to play the death sound. We're going to update our score by 10, and then we're going to terminate the actor itself, or this instance of the actor. So pretty much the updating score comes into this part here. Now, this particular piece of code doesn't actually work in Stencil, and it's not exactly clear why from the top-down level, but from a programming perspective, if you've got a little bit of experience in programming, then you can sort of appreciate why it lets you do it, but it doesn't actually work, and it's actually quite a complicated thing, and to be honest, it's a little misleading and quite annoying. So we're just going to get rid of this altogether because it doesn't work in Stencil. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to put this aside for now, and we'll come back to it later. What we want to do is we want to go into our scenes, our level, and our level itself is where we display the score. So the score display is done in the drawing. So set current font to basic and then draw our score. So this is where we're displaying our score. What we want to do is in the scene itself, or this level, the scene itself, we want to update our score. So the way in which we're going to do that is we're going to say when an enemy ship is destroyed, we want to go tell the scene that a ship got destroyed and tell the scene to update the score itself. This way, the score will actually work in updating. So to do that, we're going to go add event, go down to advanced, and we're going to create a custom event that is triggered when we destroy an enemy ship. So we'll say update score, but rather than that we'll say increment score. That will probably be more intuitive. And what we want is that whenever this is called, we want to update our score by 1. So we'll go into game attributes and we'll say setters, set score to, and then we'll go back to getters and we'll say get our score. And every time we run this code, we want our score to increment by, let's say, 10. Like so. So pretty much, when increment score is called, set score to score plus 10. Perfect. So this should update our score or increment our score whenever it gets called. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to go back to our enemy ship and we want to add a piece of code in here that will actually increment the score or tell the level to run this piece of code because a ship has been destroyed. So we're going to go to event and we're going to grab the event that tells the scene to run a event itself. So trigger event text in all behaviors for this scene. Grabbing this, pasting in our increment score, putting everything back together. Done. So what we'll find is that when we execute this game or test this game now, every time we shoot a ship down, we're going to run this piece of code here, which will update our score by 10, and then in the drawing event, every time the scene refreshes itself, it will display the score. So our score will go up by 10 every time we destroy a ship. Now, the second really cool thing that we might want to implement is let's say every 3 ships or every 5 ships or however many ships we're interested in, every time we shoot down that many ships, we want to play the fun little icon, or let's say animation of this dude, my man. So every time we shoot down X amount of ships, we want this guy to come out and congratulate us for our achievement. The way in which we're going to do that is, whoops, let's go back over here into events. The way in which we can do that is we can say, when we're incrementing the score, we'll have a check of what the score actually is. And if it's an increment of say 5 ships or an increment of say 7 ships, we'll get this guy to come out, do his thing, and then go back away. So pretty much congratulate us and then go back into his hole. So jumping into it, what we're going to do is we need to check if, I'll grab the score and duplicate it. If the score is a multiple of, let's go 5, then we'll tell this guy here to come out, say hello, and go away. So what we need is our if remainder of, and we'll say, let's go every 5 ships. So every time the score has a multiple of 50, then we know another 5 ships have been shot down. And if that is equal to 0, so if there is no remainder, then we want the my man dude to come out. So to get him to come out, we'll create a new instance of him, create actor type at, yep, that's the one we want, and the actor type we want is this guy here. Then we need to know where to put him. Now the easiest way to do that is we'll just look at the reference copy of him, and he is in palette, so we'll click on him, go up to inspector, and then it tells us his position here. So 630 by 410. Going back in, we'll put in 630 by 410, and voila, we are done. So if we test our game and we shoot down 50 ships, the my man is going to come out and congratulate us. Now if we wanted to change it to make the difficulty a little bit harder, we can change this value here. So rather than 50, if we set it today to say 70, then it's going to be every 7 ships we shoot down, he'll come out. Or if we change it to say, let's go 30, then every 3 ships will come down. But pretty much this code here will allow us a congratulations for our hard work of saving the planet.